I want to ask you some questions, and these are questions that that I used to ask myself when, learning and maturing through the years. Is why aren't people listening to me? Why aren't people liking my ideas? Why aren't people wanting to come work for my company? I could offer big things. I have all this stuff. I think the idea is good, and people just aren't trending onto it and following. And I learned it was because of my leadership. I did not understand how to influence people and tie people in on what I'm looking to do. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to bring other people in there. So if you guys are kind of going through this right now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a failure or your idea is wrong. It also doesn't mean that your guest or the person you're talking to is wrong either. That doesn't mean that, that person's stupid, they don't understand, they don't get it. It's not, you or them. It's just your ability to lead. So, for instance, if you think of a teacher, right? The teacher has a degree and they know the study that they're teaching on. If it's math or science or whatever it might be, they know it. And we've all been to school at one point or another, and there's teachers we love and there's teachers we don't love. And even though they all have the experience and education, some of them connect with us. We're like, yeah, I want to go to this class. I'm excited after lunch to go to this class. This teacher's amazing. And it's not necessarily the content. It's just how that teacher's able to provide that content to engage. And that really resonated with me when I started thinking about that, because that's how a lot of things are in life. And so if you guys don't know this, Michelle and I work together. Michelle runs our marketing agency, and we have, I don't know, 15 or so divisions in the company. And every time that I go into Michelle's division, there's this feel in there. It's almost like you're on a football team going to go play the Super Bowl. Everybody's excited, they're bought in, and you just have something special. And so I'm like, well, I want to talk about leadership. There's nobody better than I could think of than bringing Michelle onto the show. And I just want you to help, talk to the audience and walk us through how do you do what you're doing, and how can we help get other people there?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the compliment, first and foremost. And I'm super excited to talk about leadership, just because that's something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I've always been a leader. Obviously, kind of going through my work career, you kind of go through different positions. You start off as, entry level, you work your way up as a shift lead, a manager, depending on what organization you work for. That all looks different. But I don't think that you need to, again, have that leadership title or position to be a
That's
leader.
right.
I think that you could literally go in at entry level, or even if you're super young, I know that we have a lot of young viewers as well. Just how you operate day in and day out. And I think most importantly, how you influence and help inspire other people. So I think for me, I had a couple of people, throughout my journey, either through school and college or my previous employers, where there's always that one person that really inspired me, and they were like a magnet of energy that you were always drawn to.
Yeah,
and it's like, wow, what is so special about those people,
Yeah.
And you just really vibe with them. And it really inspires you to level up. It inspires you to level up and then just kind of reflect on yourself on what can you be doing differently, and wanting more to push yourself and continue to be that person that person was for you.
It's because
others.
we're not born like that, right? It's not
Right.
easy to, hey, let me go and give it my best self today and push myself to help influence people to do that.
So I think about your story, what you just shared right now, being a young leader when you're, having your business and just starting off, and not understanding why people aren't wanting to join your organization or, be inspired by your leadership or whatever. I think that, sometimes age plays a factor in that, also experience, but I also think that you don't have to let that be kind of your end game. I think that if you're open to, listening to people and learning, taking every situation and every interaction with a person as a learning experience, you can really take away a lot from that.
Right.
I had many years of experience in the retail environment, and I have to say, day in and day out, I would see customers that would just, be super bummed out about life and just not happy with their job and not happy with their family. And it's just so funny how they are so open to sharing that information with you. It's like, wow.
Because they could, They could feel that you're somebody that could possibly make an impact to make them feel better.
Yeah, but then also at the same time, it's like, hey, well, like, cheer up. This is a permanent situation. This is not a permanent situation.
Yeah.
Things are going to look up from here. But also, think about
to a random stranger. That's just taking leadership to a random stranger.
Yeah. What are you grateful for? And just start, focusing on the small, simple things that are going right in your life to really kind of hone back in and really kind of move forward with that positive attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why people get like, why isn't everybody a leader? Like, why do people get like stuck? Do you think they need a title, or they just don't feel good enough, or what? Why isn't everybody like that? Like, hey, I want to go drive this thing. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I think that there's probably a multitude of answers. I think some variables that I think could impact that, and I also kind of do a little bit of a self-reflection, just because I would consider myself maybe a little bit of a shy individual, believe it or not.
Same here.
And so I'm not always like outwardly like, yeah, guys, like let's get pumped up and let's do this. I kind of pump my team up in my own way. And I think just, sometimes you might have confidence issues.
Right.
Maybe, you've had a previous experience that you're like, oh, the last time I did that didn't go well. So I don't want a repeat of that situation with my new team. But I think you have to be courageous and push through those things and not be afraid to be authentic, not be afraid to make mistakes, not be afraid to ask for forgiveness. And you have to be bold, and say what you need to say. I think oftentimes those hard conversations, once you get past that, that's kind of what helps like push you to that next level. And that could be with a peer, that could be someone that you lead on your team, that could be someone that you directly report to.
That's right. But that hard conversation, at the end of the day, it's going to help them.
Absolutely.
It's hard to say it, but you're having that conversation because you care about the person versus, and that's what a leader does, versus not having the conversation. Where somebody's slipping up, and you let them go off the deep end, not just professionally, but also it's going to happen personally. Versus what you're saying is you just call it and just say, hey, look, I'm saying this because I care about you, but this is where you're running short. And if you're running short with that here, you're probably running short with that in other places. Yeah.
And I think just reminding them too, like, hey, like, you're in your position for a reason. I see a lot of potential in you. Like, let's help make this better and offer a solution. I think that's always, really helpful, just so that way they don't walk away from that conversation feeling super deflated.
Yeah.
I think that we've all had those conversations before at some point in our life, right? Either with a parent or with a sibling or with a coworker, whatever. I think that it's important to make sure that, you kind of tie up those loose ends so everyone walks away from that conversation knowing like, hey, we're good. Like, it just needed to be addressed.
Reflect on it.
Yeah, let's move forward from here and just get better. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, another thing with leadership, I think also for me, everyone says, oh, don't take it personal. For me, I take it personal because if someone on my team is upset for a reason, like, I want to know why. Like, what makes them tick? Like, what's digging at them? How can I make sure that I set you up for success? Not because I want you to be, high efficiency, like, producer, like, get all this work done. I actually care about you as a person. And, I want to know, like, how we can work together to find a solution to make sure that you come to work day in and day out and you feel good about what you do.
Yeah.
You're happy.
And people want to work hard for people that they like.
Yeah, absolutely.